Hey everyone, today we're picking up where we left off yesterday. We are going to work through the last escape room in the Adrift in Space chapter of rooms called Spacewalk. So dropping into this room, you can see, as I said, we're leaving where we left off yesterday. Obviously in the decompression chamber you leave with the suit on. Now we are outside the ship here and need to make some repairs to get everything going and then ultimately leave through the escape hatch. You can tell that we have our suit on, there's some energy, oxygen. Ultimately that's not going to play too much of a role in this, but cool for a little bit different of an experience here. So taking a quick peek around the room, obviously we have a crane control unit. We've got a couple of other different panels and stuff here, got some pipes in the floor. Ultimately, what we need to be able to do to unlock this hatch is all just on this instruction panel here. So you can see that the crane is fully operational already. It looks like these other three things are really what we're going to have to reconnect to be able to ensure we're able to leave the room. So for this, we can start really on the engine power. To do that, what we want to do is look at these two panels here. So we can see that by opening E1, we've got a couple of different colored wires here. There's a green, a yellow, a red, and a blue, but there's display failure. Opening up this panel over here, we have the same colored wires in some sort of sequence, but it looks like we actually have a display here. So we can tell with this one, obviously with the red being in an OK position, that the second wire should be red. We just have to figure out what the pattern is here. We can do it in E2 because again they have a working display, and then we just want to replicate this pattern over here. So we can dig into it and just start plugging some wires in to see what works. Obviously yellow is good in the third spot. Obviously also at the same time green doesn't work in the first spot, so we can pull this out and we'll try it in the fourth. And that's all good there, so we can tell now that blue is in the first spot. Perfect. So what we're going to want to do now that everything's good on this side, is we want to replicate this same pattern over here. So we'll do blue, red, yellow, green in E1 now. So blue, red, yellow, and plug green into the fourth spot. And we turn around and we have our engine power all connected, which is awesome. So for this next puzzle here, obviously there's a broken fuel tank monitor here that we can't use, but there is another one here. So it's saying that primary tank sensor is down, which is that one on the left. Enter the tank status manually. Secondary sensor readings are also available on the control hatch unit. So this is the control hatch unit here. As they said, the sensors are just here. What you want to look for this is the total fuel weight being 12 tons. With that, we can see obviously there's some readings here. The highest we can put in one of these columns is 8. What we're trying to do is come up with a combination between these three that total 12. And this is really the kind of key indicator here of how everything gets allocated. So you can see of the 12, half of it is in IX. So half of 12 being 6, we can turn around and put 6 in IX. So now we need to, between the other two, come up with a combination of the remaining 6 that's going to make the most sense. And with that, obviously, we can see the O is a little over half of that. Obviously, half of 6 being 3. If it's a little over half, we can pretty much guess that it's a 4-2 split. So we'll put 4 in O, and we'll put 2 in N. And we can run the verification to see if it's correct, and we are good there. So you can see now, I'll just back this out, you can see now that there's fuel coming out of this pipe here, but we still don't have it actually operational. And that's because we need to now we need to be able to basically get the fuel to power up this engine here and then this engine here. So to be able to start unlocking these panels, you can see it looks like we have 2 of these hatches unlocked already. But to be able to actually get in and manipulate these pipes for this hatch and this hatch, we need to be able to get the schematics to figure out how to unlock these panels. And you do that by just flipping around. There's a keypad under on this left side here, and then there's also the hatch schematics here as well. So what we're going to want to do is, just so that we have all of the possible pipe pieces, if you flip this over, flip the tablet over, you'll see that there's a combination here. It says use this on the second one. So there's two keypads here. We don't necessarily know off the bat which one the second one is, but just with finding the tablet underneath this keypad, we can try this combination here. So 1, 5, 3, 1. So 1, 5, 3, 1, and that lets us into this hatch. So now we have, you can see there's an L-shaped pipe, there's a T-shaped pipe, and an I-shaped pipe. So now we should have all of the pipe pieces to be able to complete this puzzle, but we still need to actually open these hatches so that we can place these pieces. And to do that, we need to pull up our hatch lock systems to figure out which ones we need to open and then what combination we need to be able to do that. So we can see here that according to the schematics, let's just give this a quick pin. We have, just orienting ourselves on the floor here, we have B, A, D, and C. So we're standing here looking at it from the basis of the schematics here. You can see now that it looks like hatch 1 we don't have unlocked and hatch 3 we don't have unlocked. So to solve this then, all we really need to do is figure out, if you look on this emergency patch, or hatch, so we have a grid here, and for hatch 1, you just trace it through. So to unlock hatch 1, it'll be B4. So we'll put B4 in, and that's unlocked. So you can see this turns green. We can remove that panel. We need to do the same thing for the D hatch, or sorry, hatch 3 here, right outside D. But you can see that if we trace this through, it'll be C6. So we'll go ahead and put in, you have to make sure you put the 0 in too, because it is a 3-digit combination. So C06, submit that, and that's unlocked now also. And we'll just back this out. So we can remove that panel and throw that in the middle of the floor. So now this is just a simple puzzle, trying to make sure that we get the fuel from one end to the other. There is a little bit of a trick, and that's why it's kind of important that you get the T-shaped pipe early. So that's just a simple straight pipe there. We can straight pipe this too. But now what you're going to want to do, just to make sure that we're still able to get the fuel over to the next compartment, is you want to throw the T-shaped pipe into the middle of this floor here, so that we can have it separate off into this engine and then ultimately pull it over to this engine also. So you just put it in place, hit spacebar a couple of times to spin it so that we have an entryway going at the top and then out the right side, and then we can just connect this straight pipe here, and you can see now that we have this engine is powered up with the fuel in the floor. And with this one, we have a couple different curved pipes. We're just going to want to spin these in place. So we have that connected now. We obviously don't need a straight pipe up in that corner. We do have another L-shaped pipe that we can place and just spin. So now you can see that these are connected, and we can just move this one up here and spin this. And we need to, I forgot this pipe over here. So we just want to make sure that this is connected to the T-shaped pipe. And now you can see that from our main fuel tank, we have connection to engine 1, and now it splits over here into engine 2. And that also reads on the hatch here so that our fuel lines are correct. So the last thing that we need now is the batteries. What you're going to want to do with this is use that operational crane. You can see that our battery down here in the corner is green, so this one's good to go. But there is an issue that's causing our power problems right now with this red battery. So move the crane above the bad battery, and you'll just click the lift. So you can see now that we've pulled the battery out of this engine, and we're going to want to just turn around and drop it on the floor behind us. So we'll click that, and we can just back out of the crane for now. So we can see that everything's green except for this status tray. So what you're going to want to do is, this is when this keypad comes into play. So if you hit this hologram here, you'll see that it's saying that there was no luck replacing the keypad. just a reminder that the keypad still only accepts passwords in ascending order. So if you actually zoom into this keypad, you can see which, you can see kind of like the residue just from obviously not being able to replace the keypad. We know which numbers the password is. Obviously it's a 4-digit code here, and then also with the other instruction that it's only accepting passwords in ascending order, we know it has to go from lowest to highest. So with this, we can just simply put 2 3 5 7 and input that, and that'll open this hatch for us. And with this, we get a laser source, and that's ultimately what we're going to end up switching out this bad battery for. So pull the bad compartment out, and you're going to want to inspect it and open this compartment. You can see we're missing a laser source here. As soon as we click and drag what we had just unlocked from that compartment, that'll reestablish connection and turn the battery good again. So just grab it out of your inventory. You want to replace this, and you can see that the battery is entirely green now. Pop back into the crane and just manipulate it back over top of the battery. We can use the magnet to bring that back up, and you're going to want to just drop the battery back in place. Now you can see that the engines have fired up here. They've turned from red to blue. Everything, all of the status on our emergency hatch is all good. Everything's connected. We just pull the lever here, and we're able to escape the room. So that's it for the Adrift in Space chapter of Rooms and Escape Simulator. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I'm a big space nut, so these rooms were awesome. I really enjoyed this last one. I know, again, it's one of those where I know I talked a lot more, but just to be able to explain kind of the logic behind these puzzles, realistically, this is probably a room that you could solve in, 3, 4, 5 minutes if you kind of know what you're looking for and what you're doing. But definitely really enjoyed this chapter of Rooms. Hope you guys did too. If this video helped you at all, give us a like, drop a comment, and let us know how we did and how we helped. And consider subscribing to Friendly Frenzy Games for more guides, tips, and tricks.